Okay, let's move on to 4A. We've got two to talk about in 4A. Northwood undefeated at East Noble. That should be a good one. In Dwenger at New Haven. Let's start with Northwood East Noble. This is an intriguing football game because we never know what we're going to get. Northwood always seems to play one of our better teams when it gets down to the postseason. This team's undefeated. They're 11-0. They're averaging 46 points a game. We obviously have seen what East Noble can do offensively. Andrew McCormick, Dylan Hunley, all the guys that they've got doing things well. This could be an offensive shootout. How do you see this one playing out in Kendallville on Friday night?
Another game with potentially a lot of points, like you said. I think Northwood, we don't know a lot about Northwood. We don't see them very much, but 11-0, very impressive. They play a very good schedule. And you look at it, and while East Noble, I think, got some confidence last week by beating a very good Plymouth team on the road, it's a step up in competition, obviously, on Friday. This is when you playing Cathedral earlier in the season, you would think would pay off. But is Northwood just too good? I think that's the key question. No matter how prepared East Noble is Northwood just too good? I'm not sure. When
you take a look at Northwood, they got quarterback Trey Belinsky. He's a name I think around the state people have started to latch on to, basically because of his success and the success of the program. People know who he is. When East Noble has faced an elite offense this year, you're talking about in the Cathedral game, you're talking about New Haven back on October 7th. They gave up 55 to New Haven. Northwood has that type of offense that can score like New Haven. What do you need to do to learn from that experience that can make you better this time around when you are facing, let's say, an elite offense for the third time in a season?
And that's the big thing, because they've played two very good offenses, struggled in both of them, like you mentioned. So can this defense get a push, be disruptive in the backfield, take Northwood out of what they like to do, which they're very successful at? And that is the question. Can East Noble get enough stops? I think the margin for error of that defense is a lot slimmer than what Northwood's offense. And I think Northwood's offense can score a fair amount of points. Is the pressure going to be on East Noble's offense to score every time they have the ball to keep it competitive? And I don't know if they can do that. As good as they are, McCormick, Hunley, everybody on that offense, can they keep up with Northwood if that East Noble defense isn't able to stop them? And I'm not sure they can.
What are you most looking forward to about this game? Because I don't think that many people outside of Northeast Indiana know that much about East Noble, but Andrew McCormick, gosh, I mean, his completions percentage is around 70. Hunley's having one of the most fantastic seasons in terms of statistically receivers in the state of Indiana.
Yeah.
You think this may be a closer game than people might anticipate based on the fact that people have heard about Northwood outside of this area? Well, people maybe don't know that much about what East Noble's been able to do specifically offensively.
Yeah, and I think that's what the angle that Coach Luke Amstutz will go with this week is Northwood, obviously a known entity. This is your shot to really be put on the map in 4A. More people will notice Andrew McCormick, obviously just a junior. You mentioned Dylan Hunley. So this is your statement time. This is your chance to really open some eyes around the state. And at home helped, because Kendallville, great place to play. Everybody be out there. Home confines for East Noble. They got a shot. I think it's closer than a lot of people think. I think they can come out, score some points, get some confidence. That defense is just going to have to step up in a major way, though.
Dwenger versus New Haven. This is going to be our premier matchup on Friday night in terms of the highlight zone. We're going to be live out there at 6 o'clock talking Saints versus Bulldogs. It's kind of a matchup we were looking forward to if the brackets played out as we thought they might, and they have. That these two teams would match up, two top 10 teams. One's a defending state champ, the other's undefeated. You can't ask for really much more in terms of a sectional championship game.
Yeah, and now all of a sudden we thought maybe New Haven was the favorite in this game. Now you kind of got to rethink it after what Bishop Dwenger was able to do to Mississinawa last week. Is Bishop Dwenger seems to be playing their best football, and that's easy to say after just 5 quarters, because they didn't play well the first 3 quarters at Marion. Turn it on in the 4th quarter, dominated Mississinawa last week, so you got to think the Saints are on a roll now. They're going to be playing good football. And New Haven, this is this game that maybe goes down to a late 4th quarter play or two, that New Haven hasn't been in that kind of situation yet this season. And I don't think Jim Rowland even knows how his team's going to respond in a clutch performance, clutch situation late in the game, and that could be their first test on Friday.
You're talking about a New Haven defense. We give a lot of credit to the offense that's only given up 9.8 points a game, going against a Dwenger team that's coming off a 56-point effort against an undefeated team that was ranked in the top 10.
Yeah.
What has to give there? What are going to be some of the keys in that matchup, that New Haven defense against that now on fire Bishop Dwenger offense?
Well, I think it's up front, and we say that's a simple solution, but it's very important because Bishop Dwenger offensive line playing very well. Blake Michelny playing well. Amon Clark seems to be getting healthier each week with that ankle. So where is that New Haven defensive front? Can it really get some pressure and disrupt what Bishop Dwenger likes to do? And it seems like that offense is really humming right now. So can New Haven, with the front four, they can't have to. They're not capable of blitzing multiple guys and then defending the back end of that defense. They just can't. So can they get some pressure up front and really take Bishop Dwenger out of what they like to do, which right now they're doing it very well.
On the flip side, Dwenger's defense creates, I believe, 6 turnovers last week, 4 interceptions that obviously helped the offense, setting them up with some good field position, allowed them to put up the 56 points. That defense against Keyshawn Moore, Nishawn Jones, James Gardner, the number of offensive weapons. It seems like one receiver always steps up on a given Friday night for New Haven because they have such a good core of guys that can catch the football. How does that New Haven offense stack up against that Bishop Dwenger defense?
Well, it's going to be tough because obviously I think the big key for Bishop Dwenger is keeping the quarterback in the pocket, making him make some plays in the pocket. If you let Keyshawn Moore get outside, then that is when he is exceptionally dangerous because he can beat you with his arm or his leg. So keep him in the pocket, make him beat you in the pocket, and of course, wrap Nishawn Jones. How many times have we seen him seemingly go down, escape, and get some extra yardage? So when you get your hands on him, make sure you take him down at first contact.
Is this one of those classic Dwenger teams where maybe we don't talk about them, we think, maybe they're not great in the regular season, and then the postseason hits and they flip the switch and they turn it? We've seen teams like that Dwenger has had make it all the way to Lucas Oil Stadium. Yeah,
and I think as recently as last year, we didn't know how good Bishop Dwenger is, and we were like, okay, well, they got to play Snyder. And then they beat Snyder, and we're like, whoa. And then they carry that into a state championship. So a little bit less than last year in terms of expectations, and then we see them late in the year kind of struggle a little bit, but playing their best football at the right time.
What's your biggest key in this game?
Man, I think for New Haven's defense, they've carried them all year. Like you mentioned, we talked so much about that offense, but I think that defense is going to have to make plays, pick a couple Blake Michelny passes off, contain Amon Clark and not let him beat you, and then I like their chances if they can do that.
All right.